Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Hopefully you are doing well. We're going to dive into today to a Q&A question that has some answers. And it's all about understanding Superbill. And I think when it comes to Superbill, maybe that was not a topic that was covered during grad school, right? We talked about different diagnoses or the intake session and a lot more things, right? But maybe you didn't go over what this whole process of engaging in a Superbill is. So I want to do that with you. Now, as we dive in, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel excited. I want you to walk away with very black and white information. That way you know how to apply the Superbill process to your private practice. Because it's helpful. It's helpful to building a successful therapy practice as well as to your clients to make sure that you're supporting them with the areas that have to do more with payments and insurance. So a Superbill, it's about exactly what you're thinking. It's some sort of bill. But instead of the bill, it's more of a receipt, if you will. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say that I have a client coming to me and I do not accept insurance. I do not accept the insurance Blue Cross Blue Shield. Client Bob comes to me and then we work together. Afterwards, Bob says, hey, can I get a receipt to turn into my insurance company so I can get some sort of reimbursement or apply it to my coverage, right? So far, most of that makes sense. Now, we understood there that I do not take that insurance. We also understand that my client, Bob, he is a member of that insurance company, so he still wanted to use his benefits. And typically with insurance, people have two sides of benefits. They have their in-network and then their out-of-network. And you know, if you're out there and you have your own insurance plan, you could look into that. You could look at your in-network benefits or coverage there, and then you could look at your out-of-network side. It can be very boring to do that. I'll tell you, sometimes I spend way too much time speaking to insurance agents. But that's neither here nor there. So this client, Bob, he's asking for this receipt. Now, the receipt is going to be provided to him by me. And you may be thinking, well, do I take payment first or do I give him the receipt? What happens there? So what you want to do is you do want to take payment first. So Bob will pay for that session fee. Let's say it's $100, right? Bob pays $100. And then in that receipt, right, this super bill, I write in there that he has paid that amount. So then probably comes in the next questions that you're going to have. What exactly goes into this super bill? And if it's easier for you to remember as a receipt, for me, it's always easier just to think about a receipt. It's just I want to make sure this is a receipt that has a purpose to it. Purpose meaning that I know that the client is going to submit it to their insurance company for some sort of reimbursement or coverage there. So then comes in the question as far as what needs to go in there, right? What needs to go into the super bill, this template? I don't like to make things complicated if they do not need to be complicated. So let's keep it simple. Right, a receipt is just a receipt with some information on there. The information is identifying information. This goes into demographics. Demographics as far as date of birth, right? DOB, client name, the address, phone number, information about your practice as far as your practice address, the providing clinician, putting that information in there. And as a side note, you may be thinking, what about confidentiality, right? PHI. Yes, you do want to keep that in mind. So it's important to make sure that if you do work with a third party that handles these receipts that you submit, then just make sure that there's a policy there, some sort of a policy that goes into protecting client confidentiality. In addition, when you work with your patients, make sure that in your intake documents, you go over that as far as stuttering here, that you go over that as far as sharing with them that when you provide that document to them, it will have key information that highlights that area of PHI. Key information as far as their first and last name, that they came to see you for counseling, and some other ones I'm going to share with you here. So you can do that by just including a short statement in your, let's say, professional disclosure statement or your payment policy statement with your practice. Something as far as, whenever we use super bills, please be mindful that blank information is going to go in there. The information in there is connected to you, your name, your date of birth, a diagnosis, really pertinent information. So it's important to know that that's going to be shared with your insurance company and they're going to be aware of that. Please sign here to consent that you're okay with this process. Right, something around there. Overall, we want to make sure that as clinicians, we're doing our due diligence. We're educating the clients that we work with so that they're able to do their due diligence on their end. Now, other key information is that go into this template, right? So far we have a template. We've got identifying information. We've got your practice information. So if it's like my practice, it would be Juan Santos. I would put my credentials on there. I would put practice address all the way from the suite number to the street to the practice name. And then some other key information is going to go here. We also want to put in there what's called your NPI. So remember, NPI is your National Provider Identification Number. Now, the reason we want to have an MPI is because that's how these medical insurance companies are going to be able to find you and search for you. The other key point that you want to put in there is you're probably thinking about this, is your Icd code, your Cpt code. Now your Icd code, like Icd code 10, that would be the specific diagnosis, right? And that's different than your Cpt codes. That's more of the nature of the counseling session. So an Icd code could be like generalized anxiety disorder, F41.1, I believe, or an adjustment disorder, F43.25 or 23, somewhere around there. Now, these Icd codes, what they do is they identify the diagnosis right of the client that you're working with, and that's going to be really important information to put into your Superbill, so that whenever your client submits it to their insurance company for coverage or for reimbursement, that they have all their P's and Q's and ducks and rabbits, all of that is aligned, right? And then the last key piece of information that you want to put in there has to do with the Cpt code. Now, if you get lost with these, if you're like, I'm not sure about the Icd codes, just go into your DSM guide, go into Google Icd 10 codes, and you'll see a bunch of them come up there. But hopefully you've gained this knowledge through graduate school, of course, because the Icd codes do go more into diagnosis. The other point is your Cpt code. So with Cpt codes, you've got your 90791 intake sessions, your standard sessions at 90837, and there's a lot more. I'm not trying to be a whiz here about them, just sharing that whenever you do have this template, that is key information you want to put in there. So now that you have this template, right, it's going to take a step back from it. Take a deep breath. You got this, right? It is not as complicated as they make it out to be. It's just like going to Target and you buy, a nice warm blanket because it's cold as hell outside. They give you receipts. The receipt's got information on there. We're doing the same thing. The same thing here. Main tweak that we're doing is we are providing our clients a receipt that they can use with their insurance company. So the insurance company, we'll give that person a name, Steve is going to say, hey, I want to know more than just the time that you saw them, the day that you saw them, their name, your name. I want to know some of these key things like diagnosis, Cpt code, your MPI number, right? So again, those are the key areas you want to look at. You want to have your Icd-10 code, you want to have your Cpt code, you want to have your information because you are the provider, such as MPI number, practice information, practice address. A good place I like to go to is my business card, because on there I have a lot of those already on there. I have my name, my credentials, my address, my email, phone number, all of those details you want to put on there. You want to make it really easy for the insurance company who's going to receive this document to know who the patient is, that they worked with you, what service they received, when they received the service, what diagnosis there is, and so forth. So what you're doing, kind of taking a step back, is you're making it really easy for your client, because they've already paid you that $100. You're making it easy for them to show that they paid you, that they received the professional mental health service from you, and then that they're going to be able to turn this into the insurance. Because what can take place from that back end, once your client submits this to the insurance company, is that the insurance company can either say, wow, you did a great job, right? You filled everything out and you put everything in there that needed to be in there. Or they could say, hey, some key things are missing. And if that happens, no big deal. All you really have to do is say, hey, what are the key things that are missing? And then we fill them out and we get that done and we move forward. So that, my friends, specifically, I'm not going to name you, but you reached out, and I love that you reached out. Thank you for doing that. This is a great question, a great area to look at when building a successful private practice where we do not feel just, so damn overwhelmed. It's a good question to look at, what a superbill is, what the process of a superbill is, and how to support our clients, how to make sure that we're doing it in an ethical and professional manner. So as always, thank you for spending time with me over here at A Counselor's Journey to Private Practice, where we are smiling as often as we can. We're supporting our patients and making sure that we are doing our best to live our best life. Because if we are living our best life, then we're able to support those in the way that we want to support them, right? In the way that we know we should be there showing up. If you haven't done so already, I would love if you would give me two kindness. One, I would love if you would share this with your colleagues. One of the goals that I have for this 2021 is to create growth, build this into a big family. So big that we're just like, we're so many people here, right? I'm getting excited. Just kind of visualizing how big we can get. The other kindness I would love is if you would leave a review sharing what you're learning, sharing how this is supportive to you. That lets me know if I'm doing a good job, which direction I need to go into. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing space with me. Have a beautiful day. And I'm recording this in 2021, so have an awesome 2021.